What if I told you there's a cognitive bias so powerful it can make you pay more, negotiate less, and think you're getting a bargain, all while being completely unaware? I'm referring to something called the anchoring effect, a mind-bending psychological phenomenon. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal how this invisible force shapes everything from the price tag you see in a store to the salary you accept in a job interview. So get ready to see the world and your decision-making in a whole new light. The anchoring effect is a cognitive bias where the first piece of information you encounter acts like a mental anchor. It shapes how you evaluate everything else, even if that first piece of information is completely arbitrary or unrelated. Imagine you're shopping for a car and the first price you see is $30,000. Even if you later find a better deal, that $30,000 figure stays in your mind, influencing how you perceive other prices. This concept was brilliantly explored by Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman, two giants in behavioral economics. This is wild. In one of their most famous experiments, participants spun a wheel with numbers 0 to 100. And afterward, they were asked to estimate the percentage of African countries in the United Nations. What? Here's the wild part. Those who spun higher numbers gave much higher estimates, while those who spun lower numbers guessed much lower estimates. The random number became their mental anchor, even though it was totally unrelated to the question. This experiment shows just how sticky anchors can be. Even when we know the anchor is irrelevant, our brains can't help but latch onto it. And you've probably encountered anchoring effect more times than you realize. If you've seen $100, now $70 on a price tag, that original $100 price becomes the anchor, making that $70 feel like a great deal, even if 70 was the real value all along. I admit I am a huge sucker for this. On restaurant menus, expensive dishes at the top, like a $50 steak, set an anchor. So even if you order the $30 chicken, it feels more affordable by comparison. In salary or sales negotiations, the first number mentioned frames the entire conversation. If an employer offers $50,000, every counter offer will circle around that anchor, even if the job is worth more. Suggested retail price on e-commerce sites serves as an anchor. Even if it's inflated, it influences how we perceive the discounts. So why does the anchoring effect happen? Well, our brains are efficiency machines. When we're faced with complex decisions, we look for shortcuts. The first piece of information we receive becomes a reference point, a mental benchmark that our brain uses to make subsequent judgments. Now let's talk about how the anchoring effect plays out in real estate. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, understanding how to anchor to the right numbers can make a huge difference in your success. When you're a buyer looking at homes, it's easy to get anchored on the list price of a property. But remember that the list price is just the seller's suggestion. It's not necessarily reflective of the home's actual value. This is especially relevant with the increased popularity of a marketing strategy called holding offers. Here's how it works. The seller intentionally prices the property significantly lower than the market value to attract attention, to generate buzz, and to encourage multiple buyers to compete. Then, on a specific offer date, all offers are reviewed at once. The strategy is designed to drive the final sale price well above the initial list price. But it can be confusing and even frustrating for buyers who anchor to that low list price. Let's say a home is listed for $499,000, but similar homes in the area have recently sold for $600,000. The low list price is not reflective of the home's actual value. It's just a tactic to draw interest. So if you anchor to that $499,000 price, you might feel disappointed or even misled when you learn the home sells for $625,000 after a bidding war. The key to navigating this strategy is to anchor to real numbers, not just the list price. And here's how you can do that. Ask your realtor for recent comparable sales. Look at what similar homes in the area have actually sold for, and this will give you a much clearer picture of the home's true market value. If comparable homes are selling in the $600,000 range, you can prepare yourself to make a competitive offer if you decide the home is worth it to you. Understand the marketing strategy. If you know the seller is holding offers, expect competition and mentally adjust your anchor away from the low list price. Instead, think of the list price as a starting point, not the final word. And decide your max offer in advance. Based on the comparable sales and your own budget, determine the highest amount you're willing to pay before entering the bidding process. This prevents you from getting caught in the emotion of a competitive offer situation. When you anchor to the real value of a property based on recent sales data, you can approach the home buying process with clarity and confidence. You're less likely to feel blindsided by the outcome of a competitive process, and you'll have a better understanding of when to walk away or go all in. As a seller, you need to understand what buyers are anchoring to. When buyers look at your home, they're also looking at similar homes currently for sale. Those active listings create their mental benchmark for what your home is worth. That's why it's critical to price your home competitively against comparable homes on the market. If a buyer sees your home priced significantly higher than similar properties, they may dismiss it, even if your home has more features. But if your home is priced in line with the competition, it becomes part of their mental shortlist. So here's what I recommend. For buyers, use sold prices as your anchor. Ask your realtor to give you a list of recent comparable sales and use those as your reference point, not the asking price. For sellers, use active listings as your anchor. Work with your realtor to compare your home against similar properties currently on the market and price it competitively to attract attention. The anchoring effect can make or break your experience in real estate. Buyers who anchor to the wrong numbers, like an artificially low list price, risk missing out on their dream home because they're hesitant to make a competitive offer. And sellers who anchor too high or too low risk losing valuable time and money. By anchoring to real numbers, whether that's sold prices for buyers or active listings for sellers, you can make smarter, more informed decisions. The anchoring effect is a powerful psychological tool, but when you're aware, you can work to outsmart it. Whether you're negotiating a deal, shopping for a home, or making any big decision, remember to question those initial numbers and set your own benchmarks. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories about how you've seen the anchoring effect in action.